I do think we should have kept Twilight Zone by Golden Earring playing while talking about this.
That was no.
It was a madhouse.
That was no Jojo Rabbit.
This movie is no Dark Waters.
What the hell was that?
I love when it's a movie like this and
there was nobody in the cinema.
There was nobody in there.
Just us, and we were just shouting things.
We shouted, "What?" quite a few times.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of just, what the fuck?
That mixed into with when we're walking out and the usher is standing there in front of the door watching us be the only two adult jackasses leaving the Playmobil
He had this
movie.
look on his face like, you poor souls.
He literally went like,
have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
He probably, as we walked past him, just went, wow.
He really does go see everything, doesn't he?
This is not. I don't know where to start. The trailer's
a lie.
Yeah, the trailer's a total lie. That spy portion of the film that the trailer was trying to sell it as was like 15 minutes.
That is 15 minutes of the movie. The trailer for I don't know what the international trailer for this movie is like, because this is a English language French movie based on the German line of toys, Playmobil, and when I looked at the...
It's funny because play is an English word.
When I looked at the picture
must be a
of this,
loan word over there. I'm surprised that Spielmobile or something.
I forgot the name of this brand of toy, so when I looked at the picture of it months ago when I saw the poster for this movie, I went, oh yeah, I do remember these. I actually had some of these when I was a kid and just never really knew the name of it.
I never did.
You didn't?
No, it was begging a question, which is, who is this movie for? Because
for some of us who couldn't afford Legos, it was like, here's Playmobil and some Flexi blocks.
So, is, like, having never owned them, is Playmobil just like Legos, or is it for really little kids?
No, it's like...
Because I always thought it was something like, like 4 or 5 year olds would play. But I never had them, but I could be confusing them with frickin', was it Duplo?
Oh, that I don't know.
So
I think maybe they're in a lot of like grandparents' households, because when I saw them when I was a kid, they were my grandma's house. Maybe I would see them at some daycare centers and things like that, but it wasn't like, I don't remember it being like Lego to where it's like, it's a little blocks and you're kind of building this thing. And
I had Brio, like one of those little Brio sets, and I had Lincoln Logs.
Oh, I had some of those.
And then by about the time I hit maybe 6, I had Legos. Yeah. So just in my head, maybe the comments can correct me because I've never played with Playmobil. I just always assumed that was like, that's like your 6 and under age.
I could see that.
Which,
I guess,
if that's the case, if I'm right about that, I could be wrong about that because I never had them. Is this movie for 6-year-olds? Is that like the target audience? Like, I'm trying to figure out who the hell it's for, because it's not like, it definitely didn't feel like the Lego movie where it's like any ages, like, because like Legos to me was like 6 and up. Like, I was playing with Legos like probably till I was about 13, getting into the more technical stuff, and then I stopped. But I've got friends who still have Legos. They get the giant Star Wars sets and stuff.
Yeah.
Who plays with Playmobil as an adult?
maybe there's one person we know who has a giant Star Wars Playmobil. But
there's going to be someone in the comments, I do, you son of a bitch!
Look at my room. This movie is my...
Rob's judging me!
This is my 10 Commandments.
So yeah, I was just confused. I'm like, I don't know who... Like,
this is for someone who's baked out of their mind to go see this movie.
It had that... So the weird thing is, it had that, like, Care Bears kind of vibe, but this is a movie really for little kids. But then it opens with the cops coming.
Oh, no, this is great, because...
Yeah, like, you can take over here, because my jaw hit the ground. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, we both did simultaneously, because the trailer, at least the trailer that we got here, shows this as being, like, a spy parody. It's not. Like, when you watch the trailer and then go into this, you'll spend an hour of this movie waiting for what is in the trailer. And I was actually kind of glad for that, because going into the movie...
It made it much more of a mind fuck. Like, this movie was way more mind fucky than I thought it was going to be.
I was like, how is, with what we're presented in the first 40 minutes of this movie, how is it even going to end up to where what is shown in the trailer? So it was making it endlessly fascinating for me.
So let's set this up.
Where it's live action?
Yeah, it's first off, it's live action, so I'm like, oh shit, it is the Lego movie, only they're giving it away right now. Teenage girl with, like, anime hair.
It's Anya Taylor-Joy from The Witch.
Yeah, I'm like, laughing because I'm just thinking, like, this is going to be a Disney song where she sings, like, I want more, and then she does!
Yeah!
She busts out into a frickin' song, and because I was joking, I was like, oh, she is...
Out there.
She was like, I was like, oh, I have anime hair, I'm gonna go to Tokyo, and pretty much the song is like, I'm gonna travel the world, and it's just like, I want to be where the people are. And
she's got her passport. She's literally wanting to go to Tokyo.
Her little brother comes in, who does, like, that shtick where it's just like, are you supposed to be doing something? Puts his hand on his hip. The kid looks like he's 6. He's like, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna like this kid. But he was like, all right. They sing a song together, and she literally whips out a hairdryer to make it look like their wind is blowing.
Yeah.
Or the wind is blowing through her hair. And it's like the two of them, like, I laughed at first.
With a picture of clouds in the background.
Yeah, because there's a picture of clouds and, like, their hair is blowing, and I've just, like, laughed my ass. I'm like, haha, and then when it zoomed back, I'm like, oh my god, she's got a hairdryer in front of her. Dude.
That was when I went, no, when they started singing is when I went, no, because I didn't know this was going to be a musical. So I felt exactly like I did going into, when I was watching the Ugly Dolls movie, when they started singing in that, and I was going, oh man, this is gonna make this feel so much longer.
And they're like rowing on the bed, and it's like one of those scenes like in one of those like movies where they're like singing with the kitchen utensils, and everything's great. It's like, that's right, I want more, and then all of a sudden, boo, and you just see police sirens, like the gumball lights outside. And I just, because we were joking, because she's like, it's a passport. And I'm like, I knocked up a bank. I got to get out of here. So I was joking, like, holy shit, maybe she did.
And by the way, it's police lights outside of what looks like the Tanner house from Full House.
Oh, yeah. And this is a giant, it's one of those New York houses that only you see in Hollywood, where it's just like, her two parents barely couldn't afford this giant, like, Cosby house. So the music all of a sudden goes dark, and it's like this long pan down the hallway, and she opens the door, and the two cops are like, we need to speak with you. There's been an accident involving your parents. Your parents are dead. Yes. We were just like, the fuck? And this is after 5 minutes of just happy singing. It was like, happy, joy, and then your parents are dead. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, we were cracking
That
jokes.
was when...
It's like, they found the head 100 feet from the car.
That was when I knew this was going to be less in the ballpark of something like Arctic Dogs and more into, like, the crazy area of say, like, Ugly Dolls, which had Holocaust allegories in it, or
the Nutcracker Doug and I had to review had the same Holocaust allegories.
Wonder Park, where it was like 15 minutes in is all this happy singing, and then like, oh, by the way, your mom has cancer. I'm this is the kind of movie where
it flashes this sign that says like 4 years later. Yeah. Like it's freaking Endgame after the snap. And
still living in the same... It's all still live action, by the way.
They're living in the same house. She's got to be, let's see, she must have been 18. She was talking about going to college. So she's 22 now. Yeah. Raising her little brother on her own, and they're still living in this giant house, and she's a waitress. She's got like, I'm like, how? Was there some court case? Did they get a bunch of insurance money?
It was in the will.
It was in the
It was in the parents' will and everything.
Maybe the parents were super rich. I don't know.
The brother is the same kid from the Child's Play remakes who must just have it in his contract to be in movies about toys coming to life.
That would have been way funnier if like the Playmobil dolls or the toys were like Chucky. Yeah. So he was weird. Like, I had to ask you because I hadn't seen the Child's Play remake yet.
He's good in that.
Yeah, and I'm like, how is he in that? And you're just like, he's good in that. And I'm like, oh, because he's terrible here. I'm like, you know what? It must be the shitty script. This script gives this poor kid lines like,
the line.
What was it? when it wasn't just our parents that died that day. You died as well.
Because
like
his sister's dreams are now dead. Like, she's waitressing. She doesn't want to travel the world anymore. She has to take care of his ass. She's always a wet blanket and a killjoy.
And this kid
he pulls out, when our parents died, you died.
You died as well. And he pulls out this line in front of a bunch of, like, Playmobil toys, like, on display. And I'm like, who the fuck is this movie for?
When it was getting to this point, I'm like, okay, this is now less...
15 minutes into the movie.
Oh, you were sitting there like I never thought I'd say this, but
Can we get to the Playmobil?
I really want the... And I'm going... Somehow this is going to turn into a spy film from the trailer. From the trailer, it's going to turn into Daniel Radcliffe as like this James Bond type. Somehow that is going to happen in this movie, because from this first 15 minutes, I'm going, okay, this is less Lego Movie and more The Page Master meets Labyrinth.
Yeah. They
go to a toy con, he runs away to a toy con where there's this whole Playmobil
to see a Playmobil display, and it was
Yeah.
another thing where I'm just like, man, I wish this was a Lego display. I'm just not into Playmobil. I didn't grow, so I'm just like, why would I at that age sneak in to see Playmobil? If it was the world's biggest Lego display, I'd be all over that.
It's also
shit.
kind of funny they never mention it by name. It's falling asleep too, like we did in the movie.
Yeah, we fell asleep at different points in this movie.
That was kind of funny to me that they don't really mention the name of the product.
They never mentioned it once, but man, they want you to buy it. We had this wonderful adventure thanks to these toys.
They get sucked in through a magic lighthouse, and this display, by the way, looks kind of like, do you remember the E.T. ride at Universal Studios with the miniature city and figures like underneath it and everything with the night sky background? It looked kind of like that.
I was Pope. I didn't go to Universal Studios. I was Pope.
It's because you spent all your money on Legos.
That's true.
See,
that was my parents' consolation prize.
I spent mine on Playmobil and was able to go to
we did get one. The only time we did something like that, I did get one. We did get one trip to Disney World that my grandparents helped pay for. But the last time I went to Disney World was 1986. I hear a few things have changed.
It was Universal Studios. We had the E.T. Thing, and they don't anymore. Maybe they just because they now use it as the set for this movie. But they get sucked into the magical Playmobil land. To describe the plot of this is to describe a fever dream.
It just bounces around. I'm like, the Lego Movie made me realize how good the Lego Movie was, because I'm like, man, you bounced around in that movie, but you felt there was a sense of purpose, like it was paced properly. It was this one's just random. They just go from random land to random land. It's weird to me, like, the girl, her Playmobil model or whatever that they turn her into, looks kind of like a middle-aged mom, which was weirding me out, because I kept forgetting that she was, like, his sister and not his mother. Like, when she transforms back at the end of the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. She's like 22-year-old. I'm like, huh.
As he turns into a Viking figure, so they get in this land where there's suddenly this magic. I'm going to quickly try to sum up what the plot of this movie is.
The Vikings are great, though, because I'm like laughing. I'm like, Playmobil Vikings. Like, come on, let's go rape and pillage. I'm like, how does this
And there
work?
were pirates there, too. So there's this pirates versus Vikings things happening where her little brother is now a big Viking.
We should make one thing perfectly clear.
Yeah.
That's not as cool as it sounds. Because if you told me, oh yeah, it's Vikings versus pirates versus freaking
Caligula. That's only 5 minutes of this movie.
Caligula.
Oh yeah, Caligula's the villain, by the way, because Caligula, a Roman emperor.
Cool as it sounds.
The villain's a Roman emperor who is kidnapping one Playmobil from each land. So like an Amazon woman, a caveman,
the greatest warriors, I guess.
Yeah. So like a pirate.
It's the plot
Viking,
to Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, are being kidnapped and sent to ancient Rome Playmobil land for, again, Caesar has declared that this should happen so that the Viking can then go into the Roman Colosseum and fight a dinosaur strapped to a chain that later then sprouts wings and becomes happy and flies away.
Just to entertain the masses.
Just to entertain the masses. But mix, again, there's still a spy movie in here somewhere.
In the middle of the movie, it turns into a spy movie.
Yeah. They keep going from land to land. Like, that's where it's like Lego Movie, where it's like land to land to land. But it's not fluid at all. So when she leaves the Viking area and there's traffic, it feels more like The Village. Like, it's the twist from M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. I remember you saying that. Yeah, but on the street, there's like spaceships going down the street and horse and buggies with cars and future machines.
So they're all aware of these other lands.
Yeah, I know.
I want to see more interland wars. I want this to be like real Europe. Like, they're just going to town all the time. It seems like only the Roman Emperor was, or in the Vikings, I guess.
Yeah.
We're doing some pillaging, but
it would get so, like, if you blinked, or God forbid you get up to use the restroom, or in your case fall asleep for a couple minutes.
I fell asleep and I woke up and there's a fairy godmother there and I'm like, I guess we're doing this. I was only asleep 2 minutes. I checked my watch.
There's a fairy godmother there so that she could send Anya Taylor-Joy into Shrekland to then get a suit of armor and fight the dinosaur in the Colosseum in which her brother is being held by Caligula. I don't know why this is confusing.
But that's after... No, Brad, come on. You gotta lay it out for them. That's only after she went to get the information on all of the other kidnapped characters that she busted out of some secret Russian-style facility with the help of the super spy, which she met through the guy who looks like Kurt Russell from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, who was played by Jim Gaffigan, who drives a food truck.
Yes.
Does that all make sense? Hope you got all that.
And that only covers about half of it. Because there is still the plot where they have to infiltrate the spy ring to get information with the help of Daniel Radcliffe, James Bond, who sends in Anya Taylor-Joy undercover to be this Russian KGB woman.
That shows you. Yeah. That shows you how confusing this movie is, because I said that in the description.
Oh.
I said infiltrate to, like, that's how nuts this movie is. We can't even, I just explained it to you and you're just like, I heard
the food truck and Jim Gaffigan, so I was still on that plot line.
I know, right? This is how this movie works.
I hadn't snapped into this spot.
You need to be on mind-altering drugs to get this movie.
Here's why I caught everything else, but the spy part was because you forgot to mention that part of the big plan to be this Russian woman was to poison her spicy burritos,
which Jim Gaffigan's character tries to do.
Tries to poison her burritos. At least they cast
Jim Gaffigan to type because it's all food stuff with him.
I was hoping that
he was. I'll give him this. He was all in it.
He was.
I think the actress, I think she was all in it. I think the kid was trying to be all in it. They gave him terrible lines and not much to do, but
it's a baffling cast.
Daniel Radcliffe, though, I'm just like, oh, this is really miscast.
No, he was not James Bond.
They made him look more like Michael Caine.
If Michael Caine was one of the Kingsmen?
Yeah, like one of the... It was like this kind of Kingsman-y Michael Caine kind of... So I was either expecting... Yeah, like a deeper voice of like a Michael Caine voice, and instead it was just Daniel Radcliffe doing his pottery kind of...
Rex Dasher, or whatever his name was.
Rex Dasher! And I was like, the first time they did it, I'm like, it's kind of funny. And then I realized, I'm like, oh shit, they're going to keep doing this.
I did get a few more chuckles out of this than like Arctic Dogs.
I did too. There's like one or two. We also forgot the Wild Wild West bit.
The part of the movie that's a Western.
Yeah, because I only remember that because that one chuckle line out of me where she flashes gold and they're all like prospectors and cowboys, and Gaffigan's character is just like, what are you, crazy? Half these people will kill you for that gold, and the other half don't even need a reason. And I'm like, yeah, that was kind of funny.
I like to, when they were on the highway and there was the signs leading to the different towns. There was like one of them said Funland, one said Pompeii. I was like, that's kind of funny.
But then, we also forgot Jabba the Slut, or I don't remember. There's like just this...
Because Jim Gaffigan owes money to Jabba the Hutt, a fish woman Jabba the Hutt in the film.
Weird-looking fish woman who runs this, like, kinky nightclub or something. I wasn't following any of that, but I just was joking. I was like, hey, it's Jabba the Slut.
She's Jabba the Hutt with a fish head.
Yeah,
like with the head out of like Finding Nemo or something like that, and dressed in leather, but still with the Jabba the Hutt body.
Yeah, so she's the villainess, and then she's gonna kill them by dropping them in Pompeii.
Yeah.
So I felt like it would have been better maybe we never saw Pompeii, but I'm like, well, I guess there's Pompeii. I don't know. I
feel like this is one of those movies where every now and then I see a kid's movie like this, where every scene is kind of like a different version of the let's make music together scene from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes. This is just a big-lipped alligator.
That's it,
the whole way through.
I couldn't remember the term. It's just like a series of that.
It's nothing but those, too.
Yeah.
It's just one after the other, after the other, after the other.
Yeah, after the other, after the other, after the other. But it was making me... Here's what I'll say about this movie. Oh, real quick. The one other laugh I got was right before they open the gates for the big creature to fight the Viking, and you just see these eyes, and this one little figure comes up beforehand, just going, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. That was kind of funny. Like, and then this dinosaur comes out. But what I'll say about this is, I'm glad that it was nothing like the trailer, because I went into this thinking it's going to be some generic animated spy movie. This movie is a different kind of generic, because this felt like sitting through...
It's generic Lego Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm glad it was wildly different than what it was advertised. This movie feels like watching... It's a $75 million budget. It feels like watching the most expensive mockbuster ever made.
That's what it felt like. It felt like one of those knockoffs.
Yeah.
Like, this is the Lego movie knockoff. I'll say this, too. If I were a kid, I would be super annoyed that this movie presents it that it's going to be about this boy, or it could have been a girl, but a kid.
Yeah.
This is going to be about a kid who goes into Playmobil, and like he talks, I was like, I want to have adventures, I'm going to do this, like, sis, you don't get it, blah, 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 and is almost immediately taken prisoner, thrown in jail. Pointless scene where you went to hit the restroom. There's a pointless scene where they try to bust out and steal a pirate ship.
Oh, I came back. They were on a pirate ship. I'm like, I guess we're here now.
And then Caligula busts them. Is like, well, back to prison with you. And I'm like, I'd be pissed if I were a kid. I'd be like, so I just have to watch this kid sit in jail the whole movie.
Yeah.
That's all he did. I feel like this was a ripoff.
I know the kid.
Meanwhile, basically, Supermom.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, which in a better movie, I probably would have been okay with that, because I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's a nice twist. But in this one, it's actually just pretty boring, and it's an hour.
Oh, it's too long.
Hour and 51 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking at it, because like, God, how long is this movie? And I just remember shouting, hour and 51 minutes. You were like, what?
I panicked when you said, like, when Daniel Radcliffe showed up, and you said something like, good, so now at the 40-minute mark, the trailer happens, and I went, this has only been on for 40 minutes? Yep. It felt so much. It felt like we were an hour in. Like, it does feel its length.
But what kills me is the Lego movie is only an hour 40.
Yeah.
Somehow this managed to be cheaper, more generic, not good, and 10 minutes longer.
But the kid did get to witness cannibalism, though. He says all the skulls that are in this movie.
That's a thing that happens, folks.
They're in the cell, and the cave woman is gnawing on a human Playmobil
and the
arm.
other character's just like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm inclined to agree.
I leaned over, like, later when, like, I leaned over and went, there's a lot of skulls in this movie. I will say...
Playmobil in the Temple of Doom.
I was starting to nod off a little towards the end, but before then, I was sitting there going, like, this is a way easier sit for me than, like, Arctic Dogs, because in this, I don't know what's going to happen in this movie. Arctic Dogs, we could call from the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll give... In a way, this is probably better than Arctic Dogs, because...
Yeah.
It surprised me.
Yeah.
Arctic Dogs did not. Playing with Fire, to a certain degree, surprised me just at how bad it was.
Yeah.
Arctic Dogs is still that, like, just generic, so middle of the road that I've just forgotten about it.
I was also... But
this is still a very bad movie.
Yeah, don't get us wrong.
Yeah,
like...
This is like one of those where like this is.
It's
this
a
is
very
so,
cynical film.
Yeah, and this is so bad that like maybe we were just getting a little bit of enjoyment out of how bad it was.
Also,
it's not good.
I was more fascinated by this movie than Frozen 2, and I felt like
I hate to say it, I was too.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Frozen 2.
I didn't like Frozen 2 either. In this one, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of things about this movie that are way worse than Frozen 2, but I can't lie. This is, to me, was a lot easier to sit through than Frozen 2.
Well, you were telling me that in the middle of the movie. I'm like, well, they're both about dead parents and going on a quest with your sibling.
Yeah. I go, like, Frozen 2 was going in one ear and out the other that made it very hard for me to talk about the movie afterwards. This... I can't wait for Laura to get home later so I can tell her everything that happened in this film.
I dare you. This would be the world's most hardest quiz. Describe the plot beginning to end and don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure it can be done. Like, they should make that an online internet quiz. Can you remember the plot to the Playmobil movie and get it all right?
It's like an episode of Drunk History where they ask the person to describe the Lego movie. And this is the script that you get.
Yes.
I am so glad we were the only ones there.
Well, it made it a little easier. I did nod off though. Those comfy seats. A movie like this is where they're trouble because I'm just like, wake me when it's over.
I made sure to have like caffeine and sugar too because I was eating Airhead bites, and you like gave some to you at one point too.
No, I was
need
like
more sugar for
this.
Like,
can I have some bread? I need some sugar for this.
Maybe that was my problem. Maybe at the end I was just like, crashing.
There was so much sugar in this movie. I think that was like the one moment where I started losing it. It was the fairy godmother song. I'll be the girl I once was. And I'm just like, there's like no judgment here. People can like and do whatever they want, but everybody has their personal tastes. Mm-hmm. You know, what they enjoy sitting through and watching. And I was just staring at it. I remember turning to you, I'm like, I have way too much testosterone for this movie. I can't handle all, there was like just so much pink and song and joy, and I'm just like it didn't bother me as much in the Lego 2 movie, but this one was finally getting to me where I'm like, can I see a different color, please?
It bothered me more in the second Lego movie, and what also looks like the second Trolls movie that we got a trailer for.
I had to sit
after 15 minutes of Lego movie 2, I was exhausted. In this, I was like, I just want to see how the
Lego Movie 2 was better written though. That got me through all of that. I'm just like, all right, there's still funny jokes. It's still much better put together.
Yeah.
That Trolls 2. I got it. So
Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, my niece, she likes the first Trolls movie.
Yeah.
So my sister-in-law was telling me about it, and she was swearing to me. She's like, no, it's good, and they're never gonna watch this, so I can say it. And I was like, okay, and like put it on, and like the whole movie I was just like biting my tongue and gritting my teeth, and she's like, it's not that bad, like, see? And I'm just like, yeah, that's a
great
movie. I'm like, so with my niece, I've had to see a lot of shit, so that's why my bar is different than some people. You were saying Ryan's the same.
Yeah,
I've had to sit through some frickin' Tinkerbell movies, man.
You know,
or some of the others. She likes some Disney, Sophia the First. Doc, I think there's like Doc McStuffins, but I think that's more education. So between the stuff I have to sit through, I'm like, all right, I've seen worse. Like, Playmobil was definitely not the worst. Mm. It's certainly the most incomprehensible, though, because I'll say this, the Tinkerbell movies had a plot that went from A to B to C.
And also, I gotta watch Fuller House this weekend, so I'm like, maybe I should relish Playmobil a little bit. That just reminded me, too, what you just said. I got a text from Laura right before we went on. She's at her job right now, and one of the kids, since Fuller House season 5 dropped today, one of the kids is, I guess, like wanting to watch Fuller House. So Laura sends me this message like ... So now I have to watch it twice. Cause I gotta binge watch it Sunday.
I was talking to my wife about this, and I'm just like, man, would it be any easier to watch if, like, you know, they had a boy? And I was thinking about, like, the stuff that they release, I was just like, no, I've been sitting through pieces of shit like Cars 3. I'm like, it's just pick your poison. But definitely like the childishness of that song in the middle of this movie and like all the pink and the sparkles, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be way worse with Trolls 2 though, where they're literally blowing glitter at the screen and like this looks like the world's most obnoxious Tumblr account come to life.
What was it? Oh, you had one great line of that scene where he's like, Jim Gaffigan's character, I thought he kept saying enchanted hay, and I swear to God I heard enchanted hemp, and then there's like this giant brick of like pink what looks like weed, and I'm like, did I see, is this a European thing? Are they doing this as an in-joke? And then when I finally figured out what to say, I was like, oh, he feeds it to like a horse and it sprouts wings, and then you're just like, oh, now it already has its own Tumblr account.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But
maybe it makes sense if you have the toys. Maybe this whole movie makes sense. The horses with the wings and Caesar collecting pirates and having them fight T-Rexes.
I don't know. Kids entertainment that doesn't work is rough. matters not the gender or the I'm just like a little girl show, a little boy show. I'm just like when they're good, when they're like made so like the people are just like, oh, well, we should consider that adults are gonna have to sit through this,
right?
Like maybe they're gonna be forced into the theater or something, or they have to watch it with their kids. Like when they do it like that, I'm like, it's fine. A lot of great kids entertainment should be all ages, but this is that kind of kids entertainment that I'm just like, ugh.
This is that like Wonder Park Ugly Dolls level of batshit craziness. This I thought was an easier sit than those two, but it's still like in that category.
I got into an argument with somebody online, not an argument, a Facebook discussion, which for most people would turn into an argument. But it was a question of Matt Fagerholm, one of our friends, critic friends, was raging against. Honestly, I think it was Frozen 2.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, yeah, but are you the target audience? Isn't the target audience like, a 7-year-old boy or girl, like a kid? And I'm just like, you know what? No, I don't subscribe to that. I feel like you can make something easily for all audiences, and Disney, when they do it right, does. DreamWorks, when they do it right, does. Leica's really good at it. You can make something, I feel like that type of target audience argument, you've got to go to, like, really little kid shows that you find on PBS or Cartoon Network. We're like, well, no, we're really aiming this for TV distraction at 5-year-olds. But if you're going into a movie and you're paying hard-earned money, you better make it for all audiences.
Also, you can still, if you see enough movies, you know the difference between what the movies as a product is better, regardless if you're in the demographic or not. What's a better product than the other? Those, like, dead teenager movies for, 13-year-old girls, I'm not in the target demographic for that, but I know Fault in Our Stars is a much better movie than Midnight Sun.
Exactly. I watch a lot of anime, and there's shows, there's demographics in anime that I don't like, but I'm just like, well, this is clearly, though, the better show of this type than the other. And I feel like when we're like, but are you the target audience? I think it's a cop-out. I think it's like saying, shouldn't they get a chance to just be lazy?
It is a cop-out, because one, it's like, we're not here out of pleasure, it's because it's our job, and also, so does that, by that same argument, am I not supposed to like one? Like, if I go see one and enjoy it, why do you enjoy this? You're not in the target audience.
And the thing is, this one guy had a kid and liked Frozen 2, and Matt didn't, and I'm like, that's fine. I mean, somebody can like Frozen 2. I don't care, but I think when that's your fallback, I'm like, well, I'm just going to give it a pass because I'm not the target audience. I'm like, that you really have to be extremely ignorant of the genre. Like, there's some genres where I'm going to be like, listen, I'm not the target audience, and I don't pretend to know about maybe this genre, and maybe this is too intense for me because I don't know about it.
If you're a critic, you still have to give your opinion.
Yeah, you still have to give your opinion.
Yeah, like if it's your job, if you're a critic, you still have to give your opinion on this. And
sorry, I got too serious for Playmobil, but it's just reminded me of that.
Right, yeah.
Because I was sitting there in the middle of this, just like to myself, like, I'm not the target audience. I'm not the target audience.
Even when I mean, honestly, like, even when I reviewed Frozen 2, I still made it a point to say, like, I'll say this, the kids who were in the audience were really enjoying it, as opposed to when I was at, like, the Emoji Movie and all the kids were miserable. Like,
I think the secret, I told this guy the same thing. The secret is this. Kids, there's plenty of things they won't like, but kids are generally kind of easier. There's to distract and entertain. There's going to be a lot of these movies that they're going to watch. And they're like, I love it. The test of time is whether 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it's not even are they going to watch it again, like, as adults. It's going to be, do they remember that? Did it leave an impact? Now, I think of the ones that left an impact on me, like, at the time, I didn't like the Don Bluth films as much. Yeah. Like, they tended to be darker. They were a little creepier. You know, Disney was fun.
Sure.
At least post-early 80s Disney. Like, Disney was dark for a while.
Yeah.
But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, a lot of those films are like when I was like 6 or... Because I saw Nim, I think, the same time I saw the Care Bears movie. I don't remember any of those damn Care Bears movies or half the things I saw as a kid. I still remember Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
I still remember a lot of the Don Bluth stuff. Some of the better Disney stuff I remember. So that's going to be the secret. Because, like, well, the kids like them. Like, great. They'll like it. 20 years from now, let's see if some of these films, like, there's somebody like, oh, yeah, that's a classic. Like, that was a good,
Because I'm totally pushing 40 and still watching the Get Along Gang.
Get Along Gang. No, that's why it's like, oh, like, cartoons aren't like what we had in the 80s. I'm just like, that's because we were kids. Trust me. I'll throw on one every once in a while and go, like, Jesus, I watched this? Like, no.
I'll pop up some, like, Heathcliff every now and then, or...
Well, some are still funny. Yeah. Like, I enjoy
Inspector Gadget also pop up.
I think Inspector Gadget as a kid's show was great.
No, that
was a kid's empowerment show.
But then
the little girl does everything. Her uncle's a freaking idiot.
But then there'll be the ones like you and I, like, some weeks ago when we threw on, like, the Frogger cartoon, like Saturday Morning Supercade and things like that.
Jesus, people watch this. For me, it's like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh, yeah. The brothers.
And I'm just like, God, I can't believe, like, we sat through this. Like, and it's like, whatever attachment I have is just nostalgia. I'm like, no, it's too good.
Yeah, I mean, the final thing I'll say about this is just sort of like, I mean, it's one that you could pop it up streaming and get super baked watching it and sit through it like that.
That is the only way to watch this movie.
Totally.
Is to get baked.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you should do. Any other final words about it? This was our Friday afternoon.
What can I say, but... Thanks.
You're welcome. As always. We'll meet again in a little bit.
Gig.
We'll meet again in a little bit for My Spy.
Oh God.
See ya.